Alrighty, so for those of you that want to draw with me, it's time to get our tablets, let's open Procreate, and let's get to it. Or, if you got yourself one of these babies, let's open Krita, or Clip Studio Paint, or Photoshop, or whatever drawing program you have for your computer and your tablet, and yeah, let's get to drawing. Barnaby is a shadow ghost owl with an eccentric goofball personality and a huge love of parties. I got introduced to him while scrolling through YouTube shorts and saw a snippet of his boss chase sequence from an up-and-coming game called Billy Bust Up. After seeing his cutscene, I fell in love with him, and honestly, you can't blame me. Just look at this dork. He's adorable. After I have fairly recently started getting back into drawing, I've been making a lot of fan art of Barnaby over the past few weeks and getting a lot of positive feedback on my Barnaby fan art. Especially the headcanon friendship he has with my OC Morgan. You guys eat this up, and yes, more is on the way. I have a lot of fun of drawing Barnaby, and in my opinion, he's pretty forgiving to draw. Especially with his reality-bending powers and shape-shifting abilities being based on cartoon logic, you can have a lot of fun coming up with ideas for how to draw him. Amongst the feedback, I have gotten a lot of comments from people wanting to know how I draw him. Since there's not an official tutorial from Barnaby's creators, and so many of you want me to teach you how I draw him, okay, sure, I'm willing to teach you guys. I'm restarting my journey as an artist after I haven't drawn in so many years, and I think making these fan art guides might be a new series I can make for art content on my channel. I'm not a pro skill artist, and I'm very much a rusty amateur, so I hope you guys can enjoy my amateur tutorial and possibly learn from it. Through this video, I will be giving some helpful tips and suggestions you can put into practice to help improve your drawing skills. As a kid, I got tired of people telling me to just practice when I asked how to get better at drawing. Practice is key, don't get me wrong, but obviously there are better tips and pointers that can be given to help improve a growing artist. I know that frustration when you want to improve and you just can't get pointed in the right direction, so let me remedy that. With this intro done out of the way, get your drawing materials and let's get started. But wait a minute, how do you get started? First and foremost, if you want to draw any character, you need references whether you're drawing this character for the first time or not. I really hate this toxic idea that's been spread in the art community over the years that using a reference is cheating because the final product isn't from your imagination. Using a reference is not cheating. Your art teacher in school will tell you to use references. The final product isn't from your imagination is complete and utter crap. There's a difference between using a reference to help with a drawing and being so overly reliant on your reference to the point where you're basically redrawing it. If you watch any of my speed drawings, you can catch glimpses of a reference I have pop up on screen as I'm drawing. If you need to know how a partially folded wing looks for Barnaby or any of his facial expressions, use a reference to help you with those little details. You can use a lot of references and create an original piece of art. On screen, you can see I'm putting together a reference sheet, even tracing official artwork so I have a black and white copy that my old lady eyes can see better. Using a reference and making your reference sheet is not cheating. Don't let people shame you out of using one. After you have your reference sheet put together, it's time to get drawing. One thing you need to do when it comes to drawing Barnaby is that you need to break him down to his basic shapes. Being able to break a character down to their basic shapes and using basic shapes to build a character is a technique you should get a hand on if you haven't already. When it comes to drawing, you need to master your basic shapes and be able to see those shapes in whatever character you want to break down and draw. Looking at Barnaby, I see two basic shapes. I see a square for his head and an oval for his torso. Seeing these two shapes, I place them on my canvas to map out how I want to draw him when it comes to making art of Barnaby that's from the waist up. If you're following along, feel free to place his square and oval in the same place as I am, or however you want on your canvas. Far apart if you're having his neck extended, or close together if you want his neck at normal length, especially if you're drawing Barnaby when he was alive. I want to draw a silly goofball Barnaby as a ghost, so I'm going to have his neck extended and maybe throw in a loop there just to add more of his silly personality. For his wings, I plan to draw them open. Selecting a new layer and picking a different color for the guidelines, I just add them like so. If you want to draw his wings closed, it's pretty simple. Just a V below his neck, an arch for one wing overlapping the other, and add feather bumps at the bottom. And of course, don't forget to connect them, and there you go, a simple guide on how to draw Barnaby with his wings closed. Getting back to my drawing, I merged the two layers together so I have the guidelines. At this stage, you can resize the drawing if you want to. Personally, I did, but you don't have to if you don't want your drawing to be a different size. Next is to open a new layer and lower the opacity on the layer for our guidelines, just low enough to where I can still see them, but the lines for my new layer are still plenty visible. For this next part, I use the symmetry tool most drawing programs tend to have to do the line art for Barnaby's head, and using a different color line for my sketch. When you're at this stage of your drawing, don't feel discouraged. It's all about trusting the process. You're just doing the line art, so there's no need to worry about how neat and tidy it should be. After your line art is done, you'll be tracing it on a new layer to do some cleanup. So don't stress that your line art looks like chicken scratch. We'll be cleaning it up in a later layer. Okay, there we go. Now you can see Barnaby is starting to come together. Alrighty, moving on. Once again, open a new layer, lower the opacity to the previous layer, and go over your line art again. During this stage, you can resize or rearrange things to better suit your drawing to how you see fit. With layers, you can easily trace over and fix your line art as much as you need to until you're happy with it. Just remember to delete older layers that you absolutely do not need in case you have a layer limit like Procreate does. After you clean up or did multiple cleanup attempts on your line art, it's time to move on. Once you're happy with it, once again, make a new layer and lower the opacity on the previous one. Selecting a different brush for me is going from a 6B pencil under sketching and moving on to a hard airbrush under airbrushing. This will be Barnaby's final outline before I move on to doing his face and coloring. Just like before, you're tracing over your sketchy line art to make more solid line art. And like before, feel free to trace over on this new layer and fix anything that you think needs adjusting. Really take your time with this stage and try your best not to feel frustrated or discouraged because it's not turning out how you want. We're all learning how to do this, so no worries if Barnaby isn't coming out perfect or close to how mine looks. The worst and most discouraging thing you can do to yourself as an artist is compare your work to other people's work, especially when drawing a tutorial and feeling frustrated your artwork is not to scale perfect to how theirs is. You need to focus more on finishing your drawing in a way that makes you happy, not to how it looks compared to somebody else's. Okay, that's good. I got my line art down and done to the point where I like it. Now it's time to go ahead and move on to start sketching out Barnaby's face. What makes Barnaby so much fun to draw is how expressive he is. You can really add a lot of personality by rotating his face like he's able to in the game. However, for this tutorial, I'm going to do something simple and just have him do his adorable smiling blip face. His face is very simple with rounded oval spiral eyes and a simple line for his mouth. After you finish doing the sketch, move on to doing the solid line art on a new layer and make whatever adjustments you need as you draw the new layer. After I have finished coloring in Barnaby's face, I don't merge the layers for the face and the rest of Barnaby's body since I like to have layers under the solid line art to make coloring easier. I'm pretty sure a lot of digital artists also do this coloring technique, but I think I should explain it just in case someone out there doesn't think to do that. So I finished the coloring for Barnaby's face on a layer below the line art, which you can see me doing for his eyes and tongue. Completing that task, I open empty layers under the line art for Barnaby's body and get to coloring. I have Barnaby's color palette pre-saved, and you should have seen it on the reference sheet if you took a screenshot of it at the beginning of the video. In case you need it, here you go, it's on screen, all labeled and ready for you to use. The colors for his eyes, the color for the gem, even the shine on his gem, as well as his other colors. So feel free to take a screenshot if you need this color palette, if you're following along, or you plan to draw Barnaby in the future and you just need his color palette in general. If you notice for his color palette, I have a softer black, so when I have something with a black outline, like I did with Morgan in this piece of art I made recently, her outline can stand out better against his black body. Alright, Barnaby is all colored, and there he is. This is how I draw Barnaby from Billy Bust Up. Thank you guys so much for watching my first drawing tutorial. If you want more, feel free to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for more content, and please do not forget to hit that bell notification so you're always alerted when I upload or go live for gaming or drawing live streams. Also, this is an option. Please don't feel pressure to do so, but if you would love to support me and my channel, you can always do so by donations via Cashapp, PayPal, and Venmo that I have linked in the description. However, just hitting the share button and linking my videos on social media is always a great way to help me out too. One more thing before you go, I would like to show appreciation for those of you who have made me fan art. I have never felt so appreciated as a content creator until I saw you guys making these gifts for me. Thank you so much for the fan art. I love these more than you will ever know. That's all for the video. Thanks for watching, thanks for drawing along, and I will see you next time. Bye!